Okay, so today we're going to talk about indirect object pronouns or los pronombres de objeto indirectos. Okay, so today we've reviewed a little bit about direct objects and direct object pronouns. So the direct object is the thing that receives the action of the verb. Okay, so now let's define what we think an indirect object is. The indirect object is the person or people to whom or for whom the action is performed. Okay, so let's look at a few example sentences, and I think that will clear up the definition a little bit. So, I gave a shirt to my mom. Let's start with this sentence here. First, let's identify the direct object. So, what is receiving the action of the verb? What is being given? A shirt. So, the shirt is our direct object, okay? Now, let's think what is being affected by the giving of the shirt. Who is being affected by that action? My mom. So we know that my mom is the indirect object. Let's look at another example. I tell the truth to my teacher. First, let's identify the direct object. What is being told? The truth. So the truth is our direct object. Alright. Now we say, to whom or for whom is the action being told? The action or performed. So to whom is being told the truth? My teacher. So my teacher is the indirect object. All right. Let's look at the third sentence. Will you recycle the bottles for us? Okay. So first, let's identify the direct object. So what is being recycled? The bottles. Alright, and to whom or for whom is the action being performed? So the action is recycling the bottles, and who is the action being performed for? For us. So us is the direct object. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So remember, you should be writing down in your notes that indirect objects are the people to whom or for whom the action is being performed. Let's continue. Alright, so let's look at what I gave us a little bit of an example in English here, some more examples in English that breaks the sentence down. Alright, so our sentence is I give a ticket to the crazed driver. Okay, so now we're going to break down the sentence. I is the subject, okay? I am the person that is doing the action, so I'm the subject. Give the verb, we know our verbs, right? And we would use dar in this example if we were saying it in Spanish. And then a ticket is what is being given, so it's the direct object. Alright, the direct object is what receives the action of the verb, and the action is give, so the ticket is the direct object. And then we ask ourselves, to whom is the ticket being given? And then we know that we're giving it to the crazed driver, so the crazed driver is our indirect object. Okay, so I is the subject, give is the verb, the ticket is receiving the action of the verb, it's being given, and the crazed driver is who the ticket is being given to. Okay, so like as we ask ourselves what, for the direct object, what is being given, we ask to whom or for whom for indirect object, and that usually clears things up. Alright, so now that we kind of understand how to do it in English, let's figure out how we can do it in Spanish now, alright? And I think Spanish is a little bit clearer because I think it's broken up easier. So let's try to see, alright? So our first example is right here. Oops, as I messed things up. Our first example, le doy un abrazo a mi novia. Alright, so let's identify first our subject. We see that our verb is conjugated in the yo form, so yo is the subject. Our verb is doy, so I'm the one giving. What is being given? Un abrazo. So abrazo, the hug, is then the direct object. And to whom is the hug being given? A mi novia. Alright, so mi novia is then the indirect object. Let's continue. Te regalo una camiseta. Oops. Te regalo una camiseta. I promise it will work at some point. A ti. Alright. So, regalo is our verb, and our subject is yo. Una camiseta is what is being given, so that's our direct object. And then to whom is the shirt being given? A ti, so you then are the indirect object. Let's continue. Le compro una sudadera para mi hermana. So comprar is our verb. So comprar we know means to buy, so what is being bought? Una sudadera, a sweatshirt. And then for whom or to whom is it being bought? For mi hermana. Hermana is then the indirect object. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now if you're confused, when you look over here and you see these le, te, I'll explain that a little bit later, so don't worry about it. But just a clue, the le corresponds to the mi novia, the te, a ti, and the le para mi hermana. Alright? But again, I wouldn't worry about it right now. Alright. So, as I just said, that le, te, le in the other examples are the pronombres de objecto indirecto. So the pronouns, the indirect object pronouns. Just like for our direct object pronouns, we have the lo, la, los, las, right? Our indirect, we have a whole different set, alright? So our indirect are me, te, le, nos, os, les. Obviously, we use me when we're talking about something's given to me or done for me. We use te when it's to you or for you. Le when it's to him, to her, to you formal, or for all of those people. Nos when it's to us or for us. Os when it's to you guys in Spain or for you guys in Spain. And then les if we're talking about to them or to you guys and we're not in Spain, sort of a thing. Okay? So, notice that we have le y les and that they are the same for the masculine and plural. So that makes things a little bit easier than the direct objects when you have lo and la and you have to decide whether it's masculine and plural. If you're talking about like one person plural or one person singular, or I guess people plural, one person singular, then you're do le or les. Okay? And you're not included in that. Alright, so let's try to figure out our sentence. So we have le doy un abrazo a mi madre. So now we're going to rewrite the sentence and we're going to rewrite it using an indirect object pronoun. Alright, now I already told you that this le here corresponds to the indirect object of the sentence, so that already gives away what we're going to use, but let's see if we can figure out what it's talking about. Alright, so I give a hug to my mom. Okay, so un abrazo is what is being given, so that's the direct object. And then so who is it given to? My mom. So we know that mi madre is the indirect object. Alright, and then if we look at our handy list, mi madre is not me, it's not you, it's not us, it's not you guys, and mi madre is only one person, so we know that we have to be using this le here. Alright, so when we go to write our sentence now, we can say le doy un abrazo, and we don't have to include the a mi madre because we're just saying I give her a hug. I give a hug to her. Okay? So, let's go over our rules real quick on where we can put our indirect object. The rules are very similar, actually they're the same to the direct object pronouns. Alright, so we can put le doy un abrazo, or if we have a verb in the infinitives, if we say I want to give a hug to her, I could say le quiero dar un abrazo, or I could say quiero darle un abrazo. Alright, so I can, as we look here, put it before a conjugated verb, or I could connect it to a verb in the infinitive. Okay? That is how we can connect our indirect objects, the same way that we connect our direct objects. Now, our fun rule about indirect objects that kind of makes it easier to then figure out which pronoun we're going to use is when let me clear all my things off. Alright, so let's look at this sentence here. Alright, notice how we have the ley here, and then we also have the a mi madre. Alright, so what this is kind of doing is it's like double dipping. Okay, the ley is necessary. You always need to have the ley there. Even if the a mi madre is there, the part that is then optional is the a mi madre. So this sentence here says, I give a hug to him or her. So if we already know that we're talking about giving the hug to the mom, then we would use the ley and we wouldn't need a mi madre. But if this is the first time we're talking about the mom, we would include a mi madre, but we would also include this ley. Alright? Don't worry about that too much. We'll make sure to review it in class tomorrow, but finish your note sheet and come in with any questions that you have. Alright, see you tomorrow.